official Glory Kickboxing podcast. We are your hosts, Todd Grisham and the Bazooka, Joseph Valtelini. I know you bought a special microphone for this occasion.
I'm excited to use it, buddy.
It's got a little blue light on it, man. What does this moment mean for you in your career?
It was that unpackaging of that bubble wrap was just intense for me. I should have put a YouTube video up of the unwrapping of this mic.
Well, hey, it's a great time to be a kickboxing fan. We've got one of the, if not the biggest heavyweight fights of all time coming our way, December the 10th from Oberhausen, Germany. Rico versus Badr. The press conference was a couple days ago. I got to host it. You didn't like my shoes.
No, it didn't go with your suit. The brown shoes with the suit just didn't go.
But it was light brown, and I had a very light brown belt.
I don't like it.
Badr did not want to speak English, even though on many occasions he was asked politely, could you please speak English? He went strictly Dutch. Rico played the game at least a little bit. What were your overall thoughts from what you saw and what you heard from that press conference?
Well, I was pumped for that fight. That fight to me is like the biggest fight going on right now in history, in recent history, to have Badr and Rico fight. And they're talking about the old versus the new. I thought it was crazy, but it was in Holland, and it's kind of hard with all the journalism and the press in Holland. But I think he could have played the game a little bit better, and Rico did a good job, and I know he was getting attacked there sometimes, and that stare down, that didn't happen. That's right. Intense.
Well, I got to speak to Badr. I got to speak to Rico. We'll run you a few clips of that interview coming up. But as far as Badr's concerned, I felt like if he just went and did a normal stare down, he's done it so many times. I think he wanted to give somebody something different, something for us to talk about.
I like it. I actually think it's hype. A lot of people now, whether you like Badr or you don't like Badr, you want to watch that fight. There's tension.
Now, where would you rank this fight? I know you said it's one of the biggest, but give me a fight in past decades, a mega fight in kickboxing that is about the same magnitude of this one.
That's a tough question because you're bringing in the old versus the new. A lot of times when you get these old fighters coming back, they're out of their prime and they're fighting these guys that are in their prime.
Now, why is 31 not in his prime? He keeps calling him old.
I'm
40,
old,
Joe.
But that's what they're calling it. They're calling it old versus new just because Badr was so successful in his career from such a young age. Like, he was tearing up the world scene when he was 19 years old.
Right.
And now Rico has been dominating the world kickboxing scene, and so it is not really old versus new, but according to their fights and their recent history, it is old versus new.
Would you say the one fight that I obviously don't have the knowledge that you have, but from all the fights I've watched, I would think for at least Badr, this fight on a magnitude level is sort of like Alistair Overeem Part 2. You agree with that?
It could be. There's a lot of big tension, and I'm an old school kickboxing fan too, where I followed guys like Peter Aerts, Ernesto Hoost.
Andy Hoog.
Andy Hoog, that's your guy.
I love it.
The late Andy Hoog, man, was one of my favorites to watch.
Yeah. So it happens December the 10th. I mentioned I got to speak to Badr and Rico. Who do you want to hear from first? You hear from Badr? And Badr spoke to me in English.
Okay.
All right, let's start with a bad boy.
Sounds good.
Let me read a quote to you from 5 years ago. You said on Dutch radio, you said, "I'm able to explode at any moment. I become blind to it all. There's just a certain aggression inside of me which I don't know what to do with, and I don't know where it comes from." Does that still exist?
Yeah, it still exists. That's just how I am, when I'm in the ring. I just want to beat people up, It's not like yesterday in the press conference, a lot of people talking about this or that, but I'm an emotional guy, I like to fight. I like to hurt people.
You said in the ring. Did you want to fight Rico yesterday at the press conference?
It's difficult to say,
Really?
Yeah,
you want to beat him up or not?
Yeah, it could happen.
Yeah?
Like I said, I'm an emotional guy, and I see everything personally. He sees it as a sport, and he sees it maybe as, it's just a game. But for me, it's not a game, It's all about survival. And it's all about, being strong, It's about your manhood. It's more than just a fight.
So some people, I'm sure little kickboxers out there, look up to you as a role model. Do they need that edge, or is that unique to you?
I think it's good if you have it. I think if you have it too much, it's not good, but it's good to have a little. But, like I said, I'm just a guy who goes all in, I think it's more than just a fight. Every opponent, I see like, it's he's like my enemy,
Mm-hmm.
Need to knock him out, need to hurt him very bad. There's no time to be friends, maybe after, but before, no.
That is just a small example of the unbelievable interview that I did with Badr. I thought I was better than him, Joe, but we'll talk about that in just a second. You can hear the rest of this interview throughout Glory Kickboxing's build-up to Glory Collision. We have an hour-long special coming up, so some good stuff. Stay tuned. It'll be airing on UFC Fight Pass. But what about that answer there, Joe? He said he needs to have that crazy animal inside of him. You don't seem like the kind of guy that did that, and you won a world title.
No, I was totally different. I was very calculated, very, everything was scientific, but some people need that. Some people have that energy inside of them that they need to let loose, and that was his way of letting it out. And like he said, he blacks out. And sometimes he does things probably he looks back at and regrets sometimes, but let me tell you, that guy's a monster in there.
On the other side of the coin, Rico Verhoeven, he's calculated. He makes every single decision like weeks and months in advance. I spoke to him as well.
Still in my mind. It's crazy.
Do you honestly, when you think about this Badr fight, do you see it being an exciting action fight, or do you see it being a fight where you're able to just neutralize him and dominate him, and the fans are going to be like, this was boring?
No, I think it's definitely going to be an exciting fight. But in the end, it's still going to be like, oh, yeah, it's the outcome we expected. It's Rico that neutralized Badr, and he did what he had to do and win that fight.
Your trainer said you're going to knock him out. Is he more confident than you? Is that your?
No, definitely not. I'm definitely confident I'm going to knock him out because he's gonna get exposed, and yeah, that's the moment I'm gonna show his mistakes.
Now, he hasn't fought at an elite level for a while. It seems like he's been kind of hovering in and out of retirement. What do you think you're going to face when you get in the ring? Are you going to face the best version of Badr Hari?
I don't think so, because it's difficult to be a best version of yourself, like you said, like jumping in and out. So I'm definitely gonna face a fit and strong Badr. I'm sure that, and because he's training really hard, of course, like he should. But in the end, he doesn't have the fighting rhythm, and like I have been for years. It's not just one fight or two fights that I'm in this rhythm. I've been in this rhythm for years. Top fights. I'm 7-time world champion now. So, it's gonna be a very hard day for him.
Let me show you this picture. You talked about him being in shape. He posted this picture of himself on Instagram the other day, and we were all kind of like, wow, pretty impressive. What do you think about that physique?
Yeah, it's nice. I like it.
I don't think I've ever seen him look that good. Have you?
No, definitely not. So he's definitely training hard, and I would love to see that diet.
Yeah.
I would love to see it, because I want a body like that too.
Maybe it's just Photoshop.
Yeah. No. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. That would be strange.
Yeah.
So, but in the end, it's all good. And I love to see that he trains hard, because that shows he's taking the fight serious. I'm taking the fight serious, and we're gonna put up a good fight for the fans.
That was my interview with Rico Verhoeven, the heavyweight champion of the world, earlier this week in his gym in the Netherlands. Joseph Valtelini and myself are right now in Nice, France, getting geared up for Glory 35. And before we talk about that card, just one final thought on the build-up now for Glory Collision, which is just about a month away.
To me, I think the question is, what Badr Hari are we getting in that night? I think it's crazy that these two are meeting, but how in shape is Badr?
Crazy they're meeting in what way? Like you didn't think it would happen?
I mean, one, as a fan, you didn't think this fight would happen.
Yep.
And lucky enough, Glory was able to put this fight on. So as fans, we're pumped, but we want to know which Badr Hari is coming into the ring.
It's interesting earlier, you were like, yeah, sometimes Badr just doesn't have a game plan. He just kind of blacks out almost and does his thing. But when he was asked if this was going to be his last fight, he said, I believe it was in Dutch through the translation, I need the translation! He said, I'm going to beat him in the first round in a 3-round fight, knock him out, and then I'm going to rematch him again. This time it'll be for his Glory World title. So he wanted to have something on the line for the second fight. So he thinks not only is he going to beat him the first time, he's going to beat him the second time and then become champ.
But you got to think about it. He hasn't been in the ring in a while, so this fight is going to be a 3-round fight. To take his title, you need 5 rounds, and who knows the shape he's in. So he's coming in this fight for a 3-round fight.
Do you think he even cares about the rounds? The only round that seems to matter to Badr Hari is round number 1.
Well, he wants to knock him out.
Of course he does, but
yeah. I mean, if he doesn't knock him out in the first round, what happens? Does he have that conditioning, the stamina? Rico's been on a tear. He's been active. He's been fighting regularly. He's been fighting the top in the world.
He's a machine.
And he's fighting 5 rounds. So, I mean, this fight at 3 rounds, I like that path that Badr's taking. If he's going to take that belt, sure, do a 3-rounder, then take your chance, keep training, go for your 5.
All right, last question on this, then we'll move on. You have time to change your mind, but as of this moment right now, after everything you said and heard, about a month away, who do you think's going to win that fight, Badr or Rico?
That's putting me on the spot, buddy.
Well, it's a podcast, man. What are we going to do, not answer questions?
Well, I mean, that's thrown in. Let me ask you that question.
I think Rico's going to win.
Okay, and why is that?
I think that Rico knows that Badr's going to come headhunting in round number 1. He's just going to be a little more conservative, play defense, try not to get hit as much. And then once round 2 starts, he's going to start chopping his tree down. He's going to start building in. Badr's going to get a little tired. Maybe that conditioning and fitness starts to go down a little bit. And then Rico dominates the 3rd round, wins by decision 2 rounds to 1. But I haven't thought about it at all, Joe.
So you've spent 4 days in Holland, and now you're a professional
You
coach?
asked me the question.
Well, you gave me, but I'm supposed to do the technical
You
breakdown.
said, what do you think's going to happen? What am I supposed to say? I don't know, Joe. I'm not the player.
But it's my job to do the technical breakdown. Your job to ask the question.
Here was your answer. Who's going to win?
Well, I'm trying to stay correct
You're
here.
going to put me on the spot?
You just telling me, Badr. I'm going to see Badr in a month, and he hears this podcast. So
who's going to win, damn
we're
it?
going to go. I got to go with Rico. I actually like your analysis.
Really?
That's spot on.
Really?
That's spot
now,
on.
if you're a fighter who knows that this guy's coming to knock you out, how easy is it not to get hit?
Well, I think it's the first thing Rico's got to do is use his movement, use his straight punches. Rico's got a really good jab, and you got to get past Rico's jab. Mm-hmm. And his movement and distance control is really good. So I think, like you said, Badr's going to come out in that 1st round, bring the heat on. But that jab and that movement of Rico can really shut down that early power of Badr. And I think Rico picks up his combinations and takes over round 2 and 3.
There you have it, professional breakdown of the fight already by Joseph Valtelini, ladies and gentlemen.
That was basically your breakdown.
You know what it sounded like? You just hit rewind and press play on me. Why don't I just host this thing by myself?
Why don't you start coaching as well?
I was to say I need to coach you on how to do a podcast. That's what I need to do. All right, let's talk about Glory 35. Give me one fight on the card that maybe people aren't talking about that could steal the show.
Well,
are you going to say, "Will you put me on the spot?"
Well, no, there's a lot. I'm pumped for that heavyweight contenders tournament.
I want to see Jafar Wilness. I like him.
Jafar Wilness is pumped, man. He
looks good.
Yeah, he's good, and he's having his brother just win that world title recently. And speaking to him, which is again very sad, and my condolences to the Wilness family. His father passed October 14th, and before his father's passing, his father was telling him, go out there and fight. So he's got a lot of inside, energy from within, and he's going to fight with a lot of heart, a lot of energy, and it's going to be good. Brestavac, but is a dangerous opponent. They fought before, and Brestavac was able to knock him out with a high kick in the 1st round, but Jafar Wilness came back. He says he's a better fighter now, and he's going to be on him like glue.
And that's part of the heavyweight tournament. So there's 4 fighters. They fight in the semifinals, and later on the same card, it's the championship match. And the other semifinal, Hesti Gerges. This guy, his last 2 fights, he'll swear up and down to anybody that will listen. He won them both, but he lost them both. What's his mentality right now?
Well, Gerges' mentality is he wants to get back on top, and he feels he has what it takes to come on top. And before taking a little break, he was Glory 18. He actually fought Adegbuyi and lost a unanimous decision. But he came back at Glory 31, and he fought Ismail Lant in a split decision where he feels he won that fight. And then he came back and fought Gudo at Glory 33, New Jersey, again losing a decision which he felt he won. So he's been on that losing side of decisions that he feels he won. But this is his time if he wants his chance at Rico.
He's got to knock people out. Sorry.
You got it. He's a low kicker. And I do like his style. He likes to use his low kick.
But it has to be the style that the judges not only appreciate but score for.
Well, he was saying that he puts pressure on, and I think the judges, he says the judges weren't scoring his pressure. So again, he might have to do that little bit of extra energy, power, or get in there and do more to steal the gems.
When he fought Innocent, I thought Guto was doing all these spectacular moves and spinning heel, and it's flashy, it looks good, whereas Gerges, like you said, kind of puts his head down, marches forward with leg kicks. Maybe that's not what judges want to see.
But the thing is, aggression on the Glory scoring is number 5. There's 5 things that we're looking at. First is knockdowns. Second, you're looking at damage. 3 and 4, you're looking at spectacular striking, clean scoring with spectacular, then clean scoring with regular, then aggression. So that's the 5th thing. And Gudo did a good job at using his movement and kicks on the outside. I agree with you. I would have given the decision to Gudo. but that forward pressure sometimes steals the judge's eyes.
When you started listing in your brain the judges' scoring criteria, I could see you were scared to death you weren't going to remember all 5 of them.
Yeah, I had to really think about it.
You know what's interesting, and you didn't know this, in boxing, judges are supposed to score you if you have good defense. Floyd Mayweather has won many rounds just on the fact he's been so good defensively. But in Glory Kickboxing, defense wins you nothing.
No, it's the scoring system's actually all for knockouts.
Yeah.
You can't just, they want you to knock people out. And that's why it's 3 minutes, 3 rounds, and the whole scoring is based on knocking someone out and hitting them as hard as you can and causing damage. I like it.
And one more thought on Gerges. He came walking through the lobby today. He is a monster. Talk about a frightening person.
Yeah,
he's so nice.
Yeah, he's super nice guy, but super scary. And
Yeah.
he said in his last fight he didn't have his coach Tom Herings, which is legendary. If anybody knows kickboxing and Dutch coaches, you know Tom Herings is one of the best out there. And he came out of retirement to coach Gerges, and having him in his corner, he says he's going to give him that little extra power.
My prediction, Gerges versus Wilness in the heavyweight final. Your pick.
I'm going to go Adekbue Wilness. I'm going to see a rematch, and they want a rematch where Wilness thought he won against Adekbue and sets up for a good rematch.
All right, also in the co-headline event, Zinedine Hammerlane, who won a tournament a couple months ago, kind of came out of nowhere, and then no one thought he was going to win it. He dominated, and now he gets to fight in his home country of France.
It's an interesting matchup because Hammerlane came off of that contender tournament win, and he should be getting, I think he is getting the next shot against Vahitov and Moukasa. But Zervalev was on the other side of the bracket, losing to Machado. It's a tough matchup, but Zinedine is a game fighter. It's in his hometown. Why not get a good fight in your home?
And finally, the fight that I can't wait to see, Vahitov versus Moukasa. It's the interim champ versus the champ. Who do you like?
I like the early rounds going to Moukasa. That power, that left hook, that left uppercut is just vicious. It's disturbing. But Vahitov tends to pick, I was going to say swear, but I was going to pick stuff up in the later rounds. So I got to give the early advantage to Moukasa and the later advantage to Vahitov.
Well, I think it's obvious. I met with Moukasa this week, and he's like, I don't want to win by decision, ever. I don't consider it a victory. I want to knock the guy out. So when you say the early rounds go to
I think everyone
Moukasa,
says that.
Is he going to knock him out?
I think everybody says that. That's part of the fighter's mentality.
Did you say that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. But you got a lot of knockouts, too.
I do. But I'm saying the 5-round favors Vahitov. You saw Moukasa against Bouzidi.
Yeah.
Vicious.
Bouzidi said, I don't respect his power fight. The guy's bigger than him. And next thing you know, he's cross-eyed, laying flat on the mat.
Three knockdowns,
Oh,
one
God.
round.
It was brutal. But can Moukasa do that to a much more, I don't know, would you say talented or more technically sound Vahitov?
I think Vahitov is very good defensively, and he's going to respect that power. And in my opinion, the way you beat a big, heavy puncher like Moukasa is stay in the pocket. I think Moukasa, if you give him room to throw, he'll jump into those left hooks and puts all his weight behind it, his legs. But if you stay on the inside, I think you can kind of nullify some of that power, and that's where Vahitov shines.
Almost like in football, with the quarterback, you got to get pressure on the quarterback. You give him time to look for his receivers, he's going to pick you apart.
Yeah.
It's called an analogy.
I played football, but I was a kicker and punter, so
Oh, that's a big
doesn't
surprise.
count.
Big surprise
that
there.
doesn't count.
Did you have like the one bar on your
I
on your
did. I
helmet?
actually did. I actually really did.
Oh, God. All right, anything else you want to throw in here before we go? It's the first ever podcast. You guys wouldn't believe how much time and energy we spent on this.
Yeah,
I
we-
think we got our Toys R Us microphone, and we're good to go.
Hey, leave my microphone alone.
All right, man. Well, hey, it was fun.
It was good.
Good times.
Nice job,
We're
my
shaking
man.
hands. This thing's going to go bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. What's that? The producers tell me to just have people subscribe? Okay, we need people to subscribe. I don't know how
Yeah.
you do that. Is there a button they click? You can talk.
Hell yeah. Just subscribe on our YouTube channel. Click that subscribe button.
You want to introduce him?
There you go.
It's all good. You don't know.
He's
you
our
know,
producer.
that's
He's
all
our
good.
producer, Nadeem. Nadeem, sorry, I don't know your last name.
What's your last? Are you
Tennis.
Tanus? Nadeem speaks 4 languages fluently.
We might get him in the ring to do some French
He did
translating.
that last time.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
bro, you
sure.
should have seen him, man. The spotlights were on him. His eyes were glistening.
He did well,
Oh,
though. He did a
great.
good job.
The last question was a little sketchy, but before that, he was boom.
He was
boom,
right
boom,
on.
Boom. Oh, he's great. He's
That's
good,
it.
man. All right, well, that's going to do it. And I don't know, when's our next one going to be?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So we'll be getting ready for Oberhausen.
Yeah, we'll have some more of those interviews, hopefully, some more insight.
Mm-hmm.
It's the crazy thing about it. It's there's going to be basically 3 cards in one night.
Right.
So you have the Super Fight Series, which is going to play live on, the
UFC Fight Pass.
UFC Fight Pass. You have the actual Glory 36 card on ESPN3. It's going to be on, if you're from Europe, it's going to be on international local TV. If not, you could always get it at eversport.tv. And then, big collision.
Pay-per-view, unless you're obviously different countries have different TV rights. I know Ziggo Sports in Netherlands. Someone told me they're expecting maybe 30% of the population to watch that fight in Holland.
It's
That's
huge.
Crazy.
They call it the homeland of kickboxing. You gotta hope that many people watch.
I thought it was the mecca of kickboxing.
What did I call it? The homeland?
That's a show that was on Showtime, Homeland. Pretty good. And with that, let's sign off.
Au revoir.
See you next week, 2 weeks.
Au revoir.